It's the week of Thursday, November 9th, 2017, and you are listening to episode 5 of DuckTalks. Hey there, this is Mitch. Thanks for joining us for this episode. On this episode of DuckTalks, we will discuss the reality of the hiatus, our Extra Life game day stream, and more DuckTalks merch. And joining me once again this week is my co-host, Pirate Steven.
Hey, that's me. Hey, how's it going, Mitch?
Going pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm missing some Ducktales, but doing good.
Yeah, I've definitely been missing the show. That's for sure. I tell you, even rewatching some of these episodes just isn't filling that void right now.
Yeah, it's weird. My kids are waking me up. They don't really get the term hiatus or break, so they're still waking me up on Saturday mornings and expecting me to go downstairs and put on new Ducktales for them, but not at the moment.
No, and we started watching Gravity Falls in the past week. We're almost through the first season. And my oldest daughter, neither one of my daughters cared for the show originally. I've tried to watch it a few times with them, and she's kind of my oldest daughter has taken to it this time, and we've been burning through it.
No, definitely one of my my favorite animation shows out there. Gravity Falls is just a gem. I'm sad that one stopped, but I know Alex Hirsch is going to make some more great content in other forms. But that Gravity Falls is a brilliant show with its writing. I can't wait to hear what you think of the Giffany episode when you get to it.
The Giffany?
Yeah, that's in season 2.
Okay. We are on the Merman episode, was the last one we watched.
Okay, did you get to the Rumble McSkirmish?
Was that the Manitor?
No, it's a video game one.
Oh, yes, we did. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Brilliant episode.
The Street Fighter-like character?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, no, we've enjoyed this show. I think for my daughter, it was a little spooky the first few episodes. She's really sensitive to that kind of things. Terra Firmians freaked her out the first time we watched it. So the first few episodes we had to push through. It was kind of like when I watched The Walking Dead for the first time. It took me like 3 weeks to get through the opening scene.
Oh, wow.
I'm just not a horror gore type person.
So Gravity Falls. The cool part about that show is so it ends with season 3. No more episodes, but the Alex Hirsch put out a great Journal 3 book after the show was done, and it got so popular that they made a limited edition of the book of Journal 3 as well, with made on really nice paper, and it had black light writing on most of the pages. So,
oh wow!
And then they announced that next summer they're going to put out a comic hardback trade paperback that is going to be like a continuation type of the show.
Oh, really?
So it's cool that this show is so popular and so loved that they're doing the right thing and continuing the storyline.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to get with my local comic book guy for that and make sure that's on my pull.
Oh, absolutely.
Disney Infinity comes up on this podcast quite a bit. I mean, that's kind of where we met, and many of the other friends that we talk about DuckTales on Twitter. But everyone kept talking about wanting these Gravity Falls characters in that game, and I'm like, no, let's get Darkwing Duck in this game. But I never understood the appeal of the characters, but now I totally want some Gravity Falls content.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was that last vote in a character for Disney Infinity was a very close race between Mabel from Gravity Falls and Darkwing Duck. Both characters are great, and whatever one they would have had, it would have been brilliant. and I would have picked them as my main character, I'm sure. But actually, for we're just talking Disney Infinity. That when Disney Infinity 1.0 came out, Gravity Falls, like you said, was very requested um, to be added to that game. And during that first year, I made a Gravity Falls toy box that got featured in the top five, and that it was picked up by all these Gravity Falls fan sites, and it was pretty popular. It was cool to be able to, after seeing that um, the Gravity Falls was popular with the fans, and be able to create something in the game was special to me. And uh, the fans got what they want because they added Gravity Falls content in the 2.0 version of that game, and also in 3.0 they got a racetrack in Toy Box Speedway.
Yeah, that's my youngest daughter's favorite speedway track was the Gravity Falls one, and it's got some great shortcuts.
Yeah, and there was some great Gravity Falls toy boxes as well that was built by the community.
Yeah, great show. Glad to have it right now while I'm dealing with this hiatus because I'm not I'm I'm not ready for it. I mean, 9 episodes in, and we're getting a break, and I know all shows do this, and it just there's 22 episodes that have been made, right? They've already started working on season 2. Why is Disney holding these from us?
It's kind of mean.
It feels
Um,
mean.
and the thing is, they when a show goes on a break like this, and all the shows have winter break,
Right.
uh, they don't really do this type of announcement saying, "Oh, this show is going to be especially for this cartoon is going to be coming back in January or December." They're not giving us a date of when it's coming back, so people that aren't in tune to the internet and Twitter and all these social media accounts don't know that this break is going on. There was a lot of fans out there, mega Ducktales fans that didn't even know the show existed. So
Right.
it's hard to, and then they find the show, and then there's been a couple episodes, and I can't see it anymore. So um, this is a good time for Disney to build the DuckTales fan base by showing the reruns
Hmm.
and re-airing what they previously had, so they can get more fan base built up for when they start having the new episodes this sometime this winter.
Yeah, and they released another marketing video today. It was today or yesterday, with Scrooge McDuck in a dream. I don't know if you saw that one yet.
I
Um,
did not see it yet.
it had to have been recent because there's not a lot of comments on it. And one of the comments on that video was, "Hey, where are new episodes? Why are you working on these?" And some nice people from the Ducktales community let them know that the show's on a winter hiatus and it'll be back sometime in December. There's been some speculation on that, but we've not had anything confirmed. And no, we're not expecting to hear anything. Like you said, it just doesn't happen.
But all those fans will be excited when it comes back.
Yes, on Saturday mornings. It'll be glorious.
I feel like normal again.
Yeah, the new normal. So we are recording a little late. If on the intro, listeners may have caught that it's actually Thursday. We typically try to record beginning, middle of the week, and it's slowly been pushed back a little bit just because of things we've had going on. And um, on top of that, we don't have an episode to beat this week, so there really was no huge rush to get this episode recorded and out there. But we also came off of a, I don't know, was the total close to 8 hour stream from last Saturday?
Yeah, it was supposed to be 6 hour stream on Twitch. We for Extra Life, the Extra Life charity that supports Children's Miracle Network of hospitals. We were a part of that, where it's a lot of video gamers stream themselves playing the games, uh, and anybody that wants to be a part of that, they can watch the stream or contribute money to Extra Life. And we did a stream this past weekend where we played through the Disney. Afternoon collection that's available on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And we played it on PlayStation 4. And man, playing NES games, the original NES games, were a lot difficult than I remembered.
Yeah, as a child, I don't remember beating a whole lot of games. And going back and playing those games, I can certainly see why. And watching you play, Ducktales, I was familiar with, and then Rescue Rangers, I was familiar with. I believe I beat Rescue Rangers as a child, and then when you got on Tailspin, I started sweating it, and I thought, I've got to play 3 games here in a moment, and if I can't beat these games, it's going to be embarrassing, especially with Jesse in there heckling me. Nah, Jesse was great. I'm just kidding. He uh, pushed me forward.
Yeah, the chat room had some great tips. So we split the stream up. There were 6 games. I played DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, and Tailspin. And then you played Darkwing Duck, Rescue Rangers 2, actually DuckTales 2, and then Rescue Rangers 2.
Right.
So there's a lot of different variety there in these games. And my favorite part of playing these games is the music. I think the different Disney afternoon songs and the theme songs and just the bit music in 8-bit is just really fun, and it was great nostalgic to play these games again.
Yeah, and that collection has the soundtracks to the games available separately, so you can just listen to the music. And I've actually played it since then. Not the games, but listening to the music. It is great. It's fantastic.
So we kicked it off, but I was playing DuckTales, and I still think that out of those 6 games, DuckTales is my favorite. um, I I think I got through it. The goal was to get through each game in 40 minutes to an hour and have a 6-hour stream.
Hmm.
We didn't quite make that, but DuckTales was an easy 45 minutes just to get through it. And I enjoyed playing through that one.
Yeah, that's a great game that I've got a lot of fond memories of, and I have replayed it in the remastered version. But yeah, watching you play through it, there were some things that I had not found yet. Had that, and I remember that mirror part of the game was always frustrating.
Yeah, there's
But
a
you
lot of
sailed
hidden
right through that.
levels. Yeah, I have to admit I had played DuckTales in this collection and Rescue Rangers when it was released back in May. It hadn't been 20 years since I'd played it. It was kind of still fresh in my memory, but uh, DuckTales is a breeze. Then we got to Rescue Rangers, and the game is great, but it's a 2-player game,
Uh-huh.
and my son was there, and he saw me playing on this stream, and he begged me to play, and I'm not gonna tell him no. This is stream for kids, so
Right.
yeah. So I let him play it. The Chippendale Rescue Rangers is difficult with 2 players. Chip and Dale are on the screen at the same time. First player's Chip and second player's Dale, and you have to really work as a team because if one person is going too far ahead, the other person is off the screen, and that's an automatic death for that person. So
And you share
that game took a
continues.
little bit longer than I expected, just because um, me and my son Cody had to make sure we were both alive in the game so that we can complete each level and beat Fat Cat in the end.
Uh-huh. He was having a lot of fun though. I kept noticing that Chip got hit by a lot of apples.
Yeah, I was getting thrown and hit by apples, and I was talking about you have to wait for the other person. I don't think he was waiting for me, but we had a good time playing that. The
Hmm.
only 2-player games in this collection are the 2 Chippendale games. So
Which makes
um,
sense.
absolutely, it was a great time. And then we got to Tailspin, and I was kind of cocky and thinking, you know what, Mitch didn't want to play Tailspin. I'm just going to take one for the team and play Tailspin,
I was extremely thankful.
and because I'm like, how hard could this really be? but man, it was hard. You fly around as Baloo in in his biplane and the Sea Duck and I think my most fun part of the game was when I got to play as Cloud Kicker and fly around in the bonus stages. But besides that, it's just a difficult game. I don't know if I had played that one when it originally came out, but I probably rented it from the good old Blockbuster. But it was difficult. I got to a point where I had to rage quit the game. I did get further than I think people in the chat were expecting,
Oh, yeah.
but it got really hard. So I'm sorry I did not finish that one.
Oh, that one was crazy. And the level, you beat the baseball level, right? And then it was
Yeah,
the
I mean
next
that's
level.
pretty much the whole game, right? The
Yeah.
baseball level.
That it had to be. That's as far as I've ever seen.
You had to get rapid fire. So the more money and things you collect, you can unlock the rapid fire on the Sea Duck. So I think if I would have kept going and be able to lock more rapid fire, I might have been able to beat it. But
Now,
yeah, rage quit that one.
now this is going to come into play in my story of one of my games. But what did you think of the rewind feature? Because this collection has you can press, I think it's L1 and rewind and get a redo, and it's unlimited as far as how many times you can do it. But we did find out in Tailspin, or no, in Ducktales, how far back you could go is limited. Because you
Yeah,
tried to go back and save Bubba for uh, one of the
yeah,
people in the chat.
could not save Bubba. I think he froze to death, but it tragic story for Bubba.
Mhm.
But that feature is very useful. If you make a mistake, you accidentally get hit by one of those annoying bees in DuckTales. You can rewind it and save that energy or that life. Uh, it's very handy.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to. There were situations where I would use the rewind, and instead of getting hit once, I'd get hit twice because I rewound. My first game was Darkwing Duck, and I was extremely excited that I was going to get to play Darkwing. I had not played this game in this collection other than just a few minutes, and I immediately fell in love with it. I was like, this is going to be my favorite one. It reminded me a lot, and I think you said this during the stream, it reminded me a lot of playing Mega Man. And I was excited to be playing it, and things were going really, really well until I got to, is it Moliani? Dr. Moliani. He's a mole, and in the level, he's a boss, and whenever you drop to the platform, so it's multi-platformed. There's two platforms, and whenever you get on the platform that he's on, he either shoots an arrow, which would make no sense, or he throws a knife or something. And so you have to be ready to jump as soon as you hit the platform, depending on how close you are to him. But you have to be prepared for that. Also, there are three structures that are shooting fireballs at you, and you can get the pattern in these games. It's all about figuring out the pattern of these bosses, but you can get the pattern, but it changes direction, and then when you add Moliani, I think that's how you say his name, to the equation, it gets very difficult at times. And there were times that I'd have 4 or 5 projectiles around me, and I'd rewind, and I'd end up in a worse situation than I was the first time trying to beat him. And it took me a while to finally defeat him. And like I said, I enjoyed every other villain up to that point. Now, the level I went to after that was in the rainforest or the Amazon. And man, I could not. No, I did beat that. I actually got to another level where there were like ghosts or genies or
Was
something.
okay. Yeah,
And
I need to play through that game. Darkwing Duck's my favorite, and I own that game from the NES days, and I haven't played it on this new collection, so I'm definitely gonna try that. But like you said, the Mega Man esque gameplay makes that definitely one of the best games in this collection after DuckTales.
yeah, I'm going to
I was
have to try it
surprised to
again.
hear you didn't beat it.
I did not. I finally got to the point on that level where I said, "Man, this can't even be fun to watch anymore." And Jesse chimed in that it wasn't. And I was like, "Okay, we'll move on.
Yeah, sounds
We
about right.
we want to keep this fun." So there was a lot of frustration on that level, on those two levels. Then I went to DuckTales 2 was next, and that's a really fun game. I had never seen that game and never played that game. It's a lot of fun. I feel like there's a lot more to the game than I experienced because we were so far behind in our stream time wise, and Darkwing had cost me a lot of time that I was just trying to go through it for the most part. Um, so it was a quick playthrough, but a lot of fun. I will definitely sit down and replay it and try to learn more about that game. Have you ever played it?
I've not played it. I know DuckTales 2 and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2 are very rare NES games because they came out a couple years after the Super Nintendo was released. So those games in their physical form are really rare. So it was cool to
Mm.
have these in the collection. I'm definitely going to play those games at some point, but um, they they definitely will add a lot to the collection for people that haven't not played it, like ourselves. The graphics on the two latest games in the collection, DuckTales 2 and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2, uh, are vastly improved since the previous versions in the
Yeah,
game,
yeah. I think Capcom was willing to put a little more money into them because the
for sure.
first Ducktales was a hit, right? I mean, like I know it's known as a hit now, but it was a hit originally.
Yes, it was very well received and played by a lot of people.
Well, it looks great and it's a lot of fun. And if you enjoy the first Ducktales, picking up I will say for it and Rescue Rangers too, not so much for Darkwing, no, I'm just kidding. um, but for those two games it's well worth buying this set, so especially if we end up seeing it on sale soon. I think 19.99 was a good price, but if it drops below that I would recommend picking it up. uh, they do look more cartoonish. They reminded me more of the show, especially an 8-bit version of the show.
Oh yeah, and at this point, Nintendo was making 16-bit games with the Super Nintendo, so to be
Right.
able to revert back and make this 8-bit game that Capcom did was is great.
Now, I will say this about Rescue Rangers too. It's a lot of fun. It's very similar to the first one as far as I feel like DuckTales 2 was a little bit of a departure of the first one because you get a map and everything. But in Rescue Rangers 2, it it felt more like the first one, much more colorful, a little more complicated. But the villains, and I don't think it had an easy mode. Maybe it was late, so maybe I hit easy. But I felt like the villains were very easy, maybe too easy. Or, sorry, not the villains, the bosses at the end of each level.
It's interesting. Maybe.
They were, it was very easy to pick up on the pattern and to just play towards that. Now, it did take forever to get an opportunity to get an object that you could throw at the villains. So there was a lot of just jumping out of the way and waiting for something.
Right. That's what those games were. Pretty much just jumping and timing them.
Right.
But I feel like that stream was a success. We thank everybody that hung with us and kept us company while we were playing, and heckled us. Thanks, Jesse. Um, but we also got donations
Yes.
from a couple of people, and our friend Jason also um, donated. But we ended up raising $175 for Children's Miracle Network
To date.
Apostles to date. Yes, so you can still continue to contribute. We have a link for our Extra Life on the Duck Talks Twitter page. It's said several times on there. So if you want to donate, please do, and help us out there. But thank you for everybody that kept us company as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun having the chat open, being able to communicate, and we do appreciate everyone who came out. We had we had the chat hopping a couple of times. We had a lot of people show up, and then we had a few people that hung with us throughout. throughout the play. We want to make sure that we thank you for spending time with us, but also for the donations. And I will make sure this show in the notes that on the page where it's always posted, we'll include that link. So if anybody wants to give, it's a great opportunity to help out, and we appreciate anything that you can give. Anything, you know, there's no minimum donation set,
Not at
correct?
all. It's for the kids. So
Right.
whatever you can do.
Yep.
And we might do more streams because the people that were watching us enjoyed it, and they said they would watch other games. So we play Overwatch, and we play Star Wars Battlefront 2 comes out this month, so we'll definitely be picking that up.
Next
And
week.
next week, that's true. We'll definitely be playing those games. So if you want to play with us, um, we are we play on PlayStation 4. So my gamer tag is Kenner Saint, KennerSaint. People ask me if that's for the Star Wars Kenner toys, and no, Kenner, Louisiana is where I was from, and I'm a big New Orleans Saints fan. So Kenner Saint is if you want to friend me on PlayStation and see if I'm playing Overwatch or Star Wars Battlefront or any of those other fun games.
Yeah, and I use the gamer tag Infinirama616 playing on the PlayStation 4. So send those friend requests. We'll be happy to meet up and play with you all. Overwatch has been a load of fun. I love that game, and I'm looking forward to Battlefront too. I can't wait.
Yeah, those will definitely get some rotation in my PlayStation 4.
So last week we did our very first listener of the week, and that's something that we want to continue with each week or as often as possible. We've said it's a way that we want the conversations to move beyond just this podcast. We enjoy talking about this all week long, talking about DuckTales and things related to DuckTales and video games. And so we want to keep those conversations going on Twitter and on our comment sections. We want to encourage that. And so that's why we've started the Listener of the Week. Now, this week's Listener of the Week came from the stream. Like I said, we had a couple people that hung with us throughout the stream, and one in particular, I don't think he left. I honestly believe this listener was there when we first went live, not long after, while we were still working out some bugs. And friend on Twitter at Robert Kid Carl, he goes by Casey. And so Casey was with us the whole time. Casey interacts with us on Twitter a lot as well. You probably know him as the Bubba fan. It's his favorite character from DuckTales. We talked with Casey about that during the stream, and he told us a little bit about why Bubba was his favorite character, and um, he really wants to see more Bubba, and he shared these with us on Twitter Saturday night as well. He's got some really cool artwork that he's had Tad Stones do, and James Silvani. Do I say his name right?
You did.
Okay.
But
And
I know if you ever mispronounce a name, like that Darkwing Duck villain, I'm sure when you edit this, um, it'll be dubbed, and the correct name will come out.
yeah, I wish I was that good. I've tried dubbing one time. We made a mistake and I tried to fix it, and I ended up just cutting it to where it sounds like the call went out a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, so a no prize to anyone who can figure out what episode that was in and who said it. But yeah,
So we
so
getting back to Casey. He's
yes.
yeah, like we said, he's a big Bubba fan, Bubba the Cave Duck from DuckTales, and I think we should try to have him do some kind of like guest column work for the blog to do a an article about Bubba and why he should be in the new DuckTales series, and maybe he can include pictures from his because he has a pretty extensive collection of artwork devoted to Bubba. So I think that'd be cool if we can get him to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Casey, reach out to us and Actually, I'll reach out to you and we'll get that going if that's something you're interested in. Now, one thing he's asked me a few times, both on Twitter and then at the stream, was what my girls, because he knows that we've been watching the original, what my girls thought of Bubba, and I realized in those conversations that we had not gotten that far yet. So we pulled out. It's actually in um, set number 3 of the DVDs. Is the Time Is Money, and I think that was like a 5-parter. It's 4 or 5, and so the other night we pulled we put that DVD in, and we watched the first episode. That included Bubba, just for KC, because I knew he was going to be the listener of the week. And we watched it. And I enjoyed that episode, just to tell you the truth. I remembered it as soon as we started watching it. The animation at that point of the show had gotten even better, I feel. A lot of times shows decline in quality over time. Some of the older shows that you go back and look at, you'll see that they started reusing stuff, but not DuckTales. It definitely continued to get better. And I did not have, how do I want to phrase this? Bubba was not my favorite character before I watched that episode. And to be truthful, I was surprised with how much I enjoyed Bubba in the episode. Now, to answer his question about my daughters, my oldest daughter said Bubba's weird. And that's all I could get out of her. And then my youngest daughter said, I really don't remember I fell asleep.
So he had a deep impact on them.
Deep impact. But we will continue watching episodes with Bubba, and I'm sure they will think more fondly of him as we go.
Well, there you go. You answered his question.
That was the goal. All right. So as far as news for this week, there's nothing. There's nothing going on in DuckTales. It's total blackout. Most of the people working on the show are just talking about other stuff. There's other things going on. Not projects that they're working on, because they're still working on DuckTales. We're just not seeing what they're working on. I've been to Frank Angona's Tumblr, trying to see. I've asked him a few questions and not seen any response right now. So he's busy, which is a good sign for DuckTales fans, that he's busy enough that he's not on just hanging out on Tumblr wondering what he's going to do. But as far as some news, Pirate has come across a few things on Amazon. Last week's episode was pretty extensive on some stuff coming out. Well, we have some additions to that. So, and some of these are very cool. I have pre-ordered all of them already. So the great part about Amazon, if our listeners don't know this, if you don't use Amazon, when you pre-order something, you don't pay for it until the order processes, which is right before it ships. So I don't have to put anything down on this stuff. I just have to be prepared to do it in July. But the first thing is on this list is July 3rd is the release date, and it's DuckTales Living Mummies / Tunnel of Terror.
Yeah, so that sounds like a children's reading book, probably like a grade level of first grade or second grade.
Yeah, it's a 2-in-1. It says it comes with a lot of stickers, and it retells 2 fan favorite episodes. And so from its title, I think we can guess it's The Living Mummies and The Tunnel of Terror. So
makes sense.
Also in July, on July 10th, and these are tentative dates, they could change. We've seen that already happen on a few things. We get DuckTales Solving Mysteries and Rewriting Histories. This, and we didn't talk about the price of the last one, but this one is $12.99. And if you're going to pick one of these to pre-order, I think this is the one. It says jam-packed original guide written by Scrooge and fact-checked by Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Webby. Features tips, jokes, and tons of fun. It's 160 pages with journal entries with full-color images and double-sided pull-out poster. So there's a poster as well. But this reminds me, just reading that description, it makes me think of the journal from Gravity Falls.
Yeah, and there was another Gravity Falls book that it's like written by Mabel. type of book, and Disney does with this with the Star Wars books too. Um they'll have like a journal of one of the characters, and they try to make it from the first person story of one of the characters, and these books are fun. So this is, like you said, this is the one to pick up from the bunch. I don't know what the third book was. It was 9.99. Oh, the Cine Story Volume 2.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have that one. Oh, I don't have that one. Okay. Story Volume 2 comes out in May. I don't have the exact date, but it's in May. Um, I did not pre order that one with Amazon because my local comic book guy, I want him to pick up all ages books. So I try to buy as much as I can from him when it comes to all ages comics and trade paperbacks. So I've already put in a request. He's got me written down on a notepad somewhere on his desk. So hopefully he doesn't forget. But he's already got me down for that. I like supporting the local comic book guys. So that trade I'm getting local. Even though I'll pay a couple dollars more, I'm sure it'll drop down to like $7 and something on Amazon, but I'm going to pay the $9.99.
Very cool.
So that's it on those. So there was just a couple of those in addition to the ones that we had already, well, there were three in addition to the ones we talked about last week.
Yeah, you're gonna have quite the DuckTales book collection when this is done.
You know, my girls love to read, and my oldest daughter has just she reads anything and everything she can get her hands on, and so these are books that although I would enjoy getting them for myself, I know she's gonna want to read them and have them all the time. So they're really for her. I will get a read through on them though.
So speaking of books, during this hiatus, just to give me something to do, I ordered because in Florida we have a really cool library system where you can go to the website and do a search for books, and if they have it, you can order it, and they'll send it. You don't even have to visit the library; they'll send it right to your house.
Oh
Uh,
wow!
yeah, and I did a search for Scrooge McDuck, and I found two Life of Times of Scrooge McDuck comics from the '60s. There's two volumes of it, so I ordered that, and those should be coming at some point this month. So I can do that during my Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, I saw you tweeted that, and that reminded me. I need to go to. I've got a couple of libraries nearby, and they do carry trade paperbacks, or they keep
Yeah,
trade
it's
paperbacks.
I've been able to keep up and catch up with uh, all the comics that I'd want to that I read. So um, the library is definitely a good source of information and entertainment, apparently.
Apparently, so that's all we have. Do you have anything else?
Just that, yeah, this is November. It's the magical month where the Disney Afternoon Mystery Minis are being released this week, and the Funko action figures later this month. But it's all exciting stuff that we could probably save that for the next episode or so as we start to build our collection of those mystery minis.
Right. Yeah. One thing we do want to say, and we posted this on Twitter today. We've had some reports that some hot topics in the U.S. I guess hot topics is only in the U.S. I don't know. Some hot topics um, have the mystery minis, and I'm going by one tomorrow, so I'll be able to see if there's any in the southeast on the north southeast anyway. and but GameStop has last week they had November 2nd listing their mystery minis, their Disney Afternoon mystery minis. They changed that date on the 2nd to the 10th. So that'd be as of today being Thursday the 9th, that'll be tomorrow, Friday the 10th. So if you're looking for these, you can get out there and check those two locations, see if you can find them. They're already showing up on eBay, but they're already getting pricey.
Yeah, the prices on eBay will come down once the market is flooded with these things. But
Mhm.
there are in the base set, there's 15 different characters, and then there's nine exclusives. Hot Topic has three exclusives. Toys R Us has 3, and GameStop has 3. So it's not gonna be impossible to complete this collection, but it's definitely gonna be. I like the hunt of it, so it'll be a fun hunt to complete this.
Yeah, I'm looking for.
Definitely gonna do it because they're great.
They look amazing. I've seen a few streams. Funko did was it Funko or Hot Topic that did
Hot
one?
Topic did an unboxing.
Hot Topic did an unboxing. They look great. There's a few exclusives that I'm really interested in. Toys R Us and Hot Topic have the exclusives I mostly want. Not that I don't want the woodchucks, but I definitely want to take a look at this. I would like to get a few of the exclusives. The Negaduck is the main one that I want.
Oh yeah.
It's also the Pop that I still want.
Well, that one's available. You should get it while you can.
It's going to be a Christmas present.
Yeah. Just throw it in your stocking.
All right, so we'll talk about that more next time after we've got our hands on a few. And check out our Twitter at DuckTalks. You'll see us as we might periscope some of these unboxings, and we will definitely let you know about our hauls and our finds. And then you can also find us. You can find me at Twitter at Infinirama616.
And I'm at the Pirate Steven on Twitter. So definitely engage us in some conversation. We're always ready to talk ducks and DuckTales.
All right, I think that's all for now. You all have a great week, and we'll talk with you soon.
See ya.
See ya.